Hello everybody, welcome to Deluxe Collectibles, and today we're going to be going over my worst to first for all of the LEGO Marvel superhero sets from the year 2013. There were 9 sets that were released, and this list is also going to include all of the Comic-Con exclusive minifigures. I wanted it to be a comprehensive list, so I wanted to get to include those, and considering it was a fairly small year overall for Marvel, I felt that it wouldn't be too much of a burden on the list to add those to it. And keep in mind, all of this is my personal opinion, so please don't take offense if I put your favorite set at a lower spot on the list, and be sure to let me know your worst to first rankings down below, because I'm always interested to hear your opinions and have a discussion about some of these sets, because this was a really good year for Marvel, so I want to go over all of them. But without further ado, let's get straight into it. Alright, so the first set that we have on the list here is the Iron Man vs. Fighting Drone polybag set, and this one is set number 30167, and this one, of course, I think it's pretty self-explanatory why it's at my bottom spot. It's only a polybag, there isn't too much here. It's nice that we had a cheap way to get this Iron Man minifigure, don't get me wrong, that is really cool, but just overall, it's nothing amazing, and the build overall, it's like a mini sort of drone, and I don't think that's anything too spectacular, so that's why this one takes the lowest spot. Now we've got our first San Diego Comic-Con exclusive minifigure, and this one here is Spider-Woman, and I think this is a really great looking minifigure, do not get me wrong, but for me, these con exclusives, I just can't rank them too high. For one, it's only a minifigure, so I don't really feel like that can compete with some of the larger builds that we've gotten from this year of Marvel, but I still think that it's a good looking minifigure on its own. But of course, this was a very limited exclusive that not many people were able to get their hands on, so with it being not that easily accessible, I didn't want to put it too high on the list because it's not something I was able to get my hands on, and I just don't feel like it's something that most people would have been able to, so that's why this one's lower on the list at number 8. Next up here, we've got another San Diego Comic-Con exclusive minifigure, and this one is Spider-Man right here, and I'm fairly sure this is meant to be the Amazing Spider-Man 2 version, or at least some sort of iteration of that version made into LEGO, and I think that this is a fantastic minifigure, but it kind of goes for the same reasons as I said for Spider-Woman, that this one, of course, was just not easily accessible, and I don't think a minifigure on its own can really stand up to the entirety of like the larger sets that we've got from this year of Marvel, so that's why this one takes a lower spot on the list, but it still has a fantastic amount of detail and is a really cool version of Spider-Man. The next set that we have here on this list is the Iron Man vs. the Mandarin Ultimate Showdown. This one is set number 76008. It originally retailed in the US for $12.99 and then in Canada for $15.99. It included 91 pieces and 2 minifigures here, which of course include the Mandarin, and then the exclusive Iron Man with Heartbreaker armor Mark 17. And I think that this set is pretty decent for a smaller scale set, but for one, it is not very accurate whatsoever to the Iron Man 3 film. I think that this is actually probably one of the least inaccurate sets out of all of Marvel superheroes, just bridging over all of the years of releases. It's an okay build. I can understand why they made it. They needed a cheap set that they would be able to sell to kids, and I think that this gets that job done. You're getting 2 of the main characters there, and of course the Mandarin, who was the villain who was kind of proposed in all of the marketing for this film, and I think the Iron Man armor is nice. It's definitely something that will bring in a bunch of collectors who want to make sure they can get that armor in their collection, and I think it looks fantastic, has some really great torso and leg printing as well, and the Mandarin's a fairly basic minifigure. This isn't the only set that we get him in, and in fact we get better versions of him, I would say, in some of the other Iron Man 3 sets, but still, it's a decent one overall and not terrible, but definitely very inaccurate. Next up here, we've got the Iron Patriot polybag, which was a pre-order bonus for the LEGO Marvel Superheroes video game, and this one is set number 30168, and I think this one's fantastic. I know I had said earlier that a minifigure normally can't beat a set, but just taking in all of the inaccuracies from the previous set that we spoke about, I think this one's great. It's a really awesome looking armor, one that I really didn't expect we would get in LEGO form, but it's very nice that we did, especially considering the role of Iron Patriot within the Iron Man 3 film. It feels like we really would need that minifigure to kind of complete the cast from that film, so it's great that we're getting him included here. I think he looks fantastic. I like how they had like the gun mounting system as well as a little build on the side there, just so it's not the minifigure solely on its own, and this minifig just has fantastic printing. I mean, it looks amazing. The amount of detail that they were able to capture on this suit is just fantastic. So overall, just a really awesome polybag, and definitely one of the best pre-order bonuses of maybe all time. Next up here, we've got the Iron Man Extremis Seaport Battle. This one is set number 76006. This one originally retailed in the US for $19.99 and then in Canada for $24.99. And this one includes 195 pieces, 3 minifigures, of which 2 of them are exclusive, which are the War Machine armor and then Aldridge Killian. And then we also have Iron Man Mark 42, which was available in another set. But I think this is a really nicely well-rounded set for $25. I think it was a great deal, and at the time that definitely drew my attention to it, and the fantastic minifigures here. I'll go over the Iron Man Mark 42 first because it is the more common figure, and I think this one is still amazing. Such a fantastic amount of detail captured in that armor there, of course, kind of the main armor for this film, and I think it looks fantastic here. Such a great amount of detail, and I love the gold highlights all around it. It definitely makes it pop. Then we got the War Machine minifigure, which was amazing. This minifigure is fantastic, and I originally had a different YouTube channel before this one, and when making those videos, I loved this minifigure so much that I wound up kind of making it my LEGO mascot for that channel, and I just really love that figure. It has some fantastic printing, and War Machine was just such a cool character to me that it was just awesome to be able to get him in LEGO form. Then we got Aldridge Killian, who of course his minifigure is fairly accurate, I suppose. It's really more so the face. Like, I can kind of see what they were going for with the glow-in-the-dark effect, because of course he has those sort of Extremis abilities, but I just didn't think it translated as well as they could have, but I still think that it looks pretty great, and I do like the glow-in-the-dark head feature, don't get me wrong. As a kid, that was a really cool feature to have on a minifigure, and just something pretty unique that I hadn't really seen before or been exposed to in any of the LEGO sets that I had in my collection. So that was really nice. The boat as well is a decent build. It's a nice solid build as well, so it doesn't really break apart. So while you're playing with it, it's pretty fun to play with, and you don't have to worry about any of the pieces falling off. And it's just overall really well balanced. I think it's a nice set with some great minifigures, and I just really like it overall. Now we've got the Spider-Man Spider Cycle Chase, set number 76004. This one originally retailed for $19.99 in the US and then $24.99 in Canada. It includes 237 pieces and 3 minifigures here. And of course, this was kind of the start of the Ultimate Spider-Man line for LEGO. And I think that this was such a great jumping off point here. I think we get some really nice minifigures here. That Spider-Man, even though it has just been done to death now at this point in 2020, and now we do have a new version of Spider-Man, but this minifigure was just put in so many sets that it started to get old. But when it was first put in this set here, I was so excited, and I know it's not the first time it appeared because it was in a previous set with the Doc Ock sort of layer set previously, but I still think that this was really cool to get the minifigure in such a cheap set like this. And then Venom as well, who has also just been done to death at this point. I think is a great figure within this set on its own. I think it was just so cool to get that character. Venom just looks awesome. I really do love him quite a bit. And then Nick Fury was an awesome inclusion as well, who is a minifigure that we still don't see too often. We get him in more sets nowadays, I would say, with more of the MCU tie-ins, but I still think it was great to get this version of him here within this set. And for me personally, like, I own this one in my collection and I picked it up because I was a fairly decent fan, like big fan of Ultimate Spider-Man. I followed the series fairly closely at that time, and I just thought this was really cool. Some great vehicles as well. I always love it when you have a lot of play features that come into the vehicles, and especially with like how they're able to turn into flying vehicles as well, how you can move the wheels there. I love how they gave that feature to both of the vehicles here, the Spider Cycle and Nick Fury's car as well. And I really like the color scheme of Nick Fury's car. I think it's very unique with that green coloring there. I think it makes it stand out quite a bit. So I do like how they didn't just go with a simplistic like gray or black color scheme. I think it's great that they just went out there with the green. I think it stands out quite a bit. And yeah, it's just overall a really great set that's really fun to play around with. I love vehicle-based sets, and I think this one just kind of nails that here, packing in quite a bit into the small $25 set. So yeah, overall, it's just really fantastic. The next set that we have here is the Iron Man Malibu Mansion Attack. This one is set number 76007. This one originally retailed in the US for $39.99 and then in Canada for $49.99 and included 364 pieces and 5 minifigures here. Now this is a set that I do own in my personal collection, and I'm really grateful for that because it doesn't seem like we'll most likely get another version of the Malibu Mansion set in Lego form, considering Tony's fate in Endgame. It doesn't seem like he'll be returning anytime soon, so it just wouldn't make sense really to have this setting in a new Lego set. So I'm really grateful to have this one here, and I think they did a great job of capturing a portion of it. Of course, it would have been difficult to make an entire large set with the Malibu Mansion. That would have been quite costly, and I don't think they were really aiming for something like that, but I thought they were able to capture a good portion of it as well. You get some spots to put the armor, you get some really cool just sort of parts to it where you kind of get to see a part of Tony's lab, and I think that's pretty cool because of course that's kind of an essential part to his character. You also get one of these suitcases as well for one of the Iron Man suits, and I think that's really cool. I like how they kind of added that in there. It's almost like a little Easter egg as well. And then minifigure selection wise, you do get the Iron Man Mark 42 once again, but the cool thing about this set is that you also get Pepper Potts included, so you're kind of able to put her in the suit as well to kind of reenact that scene from the film. And speaking of the film, this is probably the most accurate Iron Man 3 set that we're going to get. At least they have a helicopter here, and at least in the film the Malibu Mansion was swarmed by helicopters, so that does make sense. Of course the Mandarin here, like, it's not exactly, it doesn't make a lot of sense in kind of the overall design of the helicopter, I suppose, but I think it still makes enough sense to kind of justify it here. And I do like both of the builds. I think they're substantial enough that it doesn't seem like they really had to cheap out on one end. I think it's a good enough looking helicopter, and the Malibu Mansion definitely is a really nice build that feels fairly complete as well, even though I know it has an open sort of dollhouse sort of interior going with it. I think that does make it more easily accessible for you to play around in it, so I do like that as well. I look at that as kind of more of an advantage for the set. And yeah, it's just really great. You get one of the Extremis soldiers as well with that glow-in-the-dark head, so it is nice to have that as well. An extra head of that, of course different from Aldrich Killian's, but the same sort of idea with the glow-in-the-dark features, so that was really cool to be getting within this set. So yeah, it's just overall really great value, I feel, and just an awesome set overall. Now at the number 1 spot here on the list, we have the Spider-Man Daily Bugle Showdown. This one is set number 76005. This one originally retailed in the US for $49.99 and then in Canada for $59.99. It included 476 pieces and 5 minifigures. Now unfortunately, I was never able to pick this one up for my personal collection, but it still does not take down the value of this set and the just overall great design that it has has here, so I still really wanted to include it as my #1 pick here on the list because it's fantastic. Such a great build for the Daily Bugle there. I think it has a really nice design overall, and the minifigure selection here is fantastic. Of course, we get that Ultimate Spider-Man suit there, but then you get some really amazing exclusive minifigures for the set. You're getting Doctor Doom, who we still to this date in August of 2020 have not received a new version of Doctor Doom as a Lego minifigure, so that minifigure and character is still exclusive to this set, which is honestly really like surprising that they haven't done him once again. Hopefully they introduce a Fantastic Four line and then we'll eventually get the character once more. But then we also had J. Jonah Jameson as well. Then we also get, of course, Nova included in the set also, and the Beetle as well, who was a pretty cool character, also kind of not exclusive to the Ultimate Spider-Man series, but kind of just a character mainly for that. So maybe not a much more of a wide-known character such as Doctor Doom, but still a cool inclusion overall with like some really nice printing on it. And I really like how they created the big screen on the front of the Daily Bugle. I really like that image of J. Jonah there just looking angry, really capturing that personality very well. I like the little helicopter sort of plane build that Doctor Doom has there, the hovercraft. I don't even know what to call it, but it looks pretty nice. It's an alright build. It's nothing massive, but it's still nice to give him some sort of vehicle to fight Spider-Man with, and Nova as well. And then the interior of the actual Daily Bugle looks really nice. I like how they have a desk where it's like a bunch of photos of Spider-Man, and J. Jonah is also holding an image that kind of shows half of like a face, an actual person's face like Peter Parker, and then Spider-Man's face as well. So I suppose he's planning on running some sort of expose on Spider-Man and unmasking him. So I think it's just really cool. It kind of captures an overall like storyline here, which is really interesting. So I do like that. And also you have the aspect of like Doctor Doom trying to steal something from the Daily Bugle as well. So it kind of just all ties together really well. I would say just making overall a really fun set to interact with some really fantastic minifigures, and it's just overall really amazing. Alright, so that's going to conclude my LEGO Marvel Superheroes 2013 Worst to First list here, and be sure to let me know all of your lists down below in the comment section. I'm really curious to hear what your opinions are and which of these sets you have in your collection, and just all of your thoughts down below, so be sure to share them down there, and I'll be sure to comment back to you and we can have a discussion about all of these sets, because I think it's really fun to do a video like this and take a look back at some sets that we may have not thought about recently. So it's nice to always take a walk down memory lane here, and I think that there were some really fantastic sets from 2013. Be it a fairly small year for Marvel, I still think that there were some really great ones here with the Iron Man 3 sets. Despite all of their inaccuracies, I still think they did a great job with the builds that they made in the minifigure selection as well. And then the Ultimate Spider-Man sets also were really fantastic. The Con minifigures as well, even though those weren't available to a large audience, I still think that they were really well done. So it was just overall a really great year for Marvel. I think there's some fantastic builds here. So I hope that you all enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to leave a like down below and also subscribe for future content. I would really appreciate the support. So thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you all next time, and always remember, keep on collecting.